What is happening down there? Those results, that's 3-1 and 59-1. That doesn't sound normal.
So I want to start laughing because if you were anywhere in the world and you had to hear that there was a football game that
Yeah.
ended with a score of 59-1, somebody would look at you and ask you, was Real Madrid playing against the Sunday League soccer team from around the corner from your house? Even that is unconceivable. You cannot.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, that happened. And in the league that it happened with, in the ABC Motsepe League, um, ironically, it's named after the CAF president of. Yeah, but we're not gonna get into that. But it's just basically a team was looking to get promoted to the playoffs,
Yes.
and while they were playing, another team that they were vying with was obviously going through because of goal difference.
Yeah.
And owner of a team and the owner of a team got together and they said, "Yo, listen, we're going to do this. Um, let us fix this match."
Okay.
And 59 goals, I think of the 59 goals, 41 of them were actually own goals. And the strangest thing was there was a player who got a red card in the first half and scored a goal in the second half.
How? Was there no ref in that game?
There was a referee,
And
so
then you should
everybody was
record it and
off.
give someone a red card.
Yeah, you got a red card in the first half, but you scored a goal in the second half.
How is that possible? You should be out of
I
the
know,
place,
right?
the pitch.
And that's just how insane match fixing has become on the continent. And again, is it because we expose it when it happens? Is it because our European counterparts, CONCACAF, Asia, wherever, did not expose these kind of things? I don't know, but it looks like match fixing is somewhat inherent on the African continent. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
And it's tainting African football because, in all honesty, in the scope of world football, we've got talent in abundance. However, it's in the administration, it's in the lower leagues whereby things just go so wrong that we end up where we are right now. Hence, we're having this conversation.
Let me ask you, you've mentioned that it's one of the lower leagues down there in South Africa. This is not the DSTV Premiership. What are the stakes down there that people can go to this extent of fixing matches?
So, if you play in the ABC Motsepe League, when you win the the league, because it's a league that involves a number of teams, right? You go to the playoffs, it means you're gonna go to playoffs final. When you get to the final, it means you win the whole thing. A
Yeah.
million South African rands are at stake.
Okay.
And you also get an opportunity to play in the just a tier under the Premier League, if I can put
Okay.
it like that,
Okay.
the Red Africa Championship,
Okay.
whereby there is a decent amount of money that you get as a stipend, if I can put it like that the league will give you. And it also gives you an opportunity to fight to be in the Premier League, where you will get a substantial amount of money. So it's clearly a situation of money was at play here. Um, Maybe you pay players of the other team around what 100,000, 200,000. I'm just making a ballpark figure
Yeah.
that here's the money. You guys have nothing to lose. Make us go through so that we can advance our struggle to go and win this million, go into this other league so that we can get as close as possible to the Premier League.
And so, how bad is match fixing in South Africa, like across the leagues?
So the Premier League, the Premiership rather,
Yeah.
there haven't been any for the longest time since
Okay.
inception. The Glad Africa Championship, which is a tier under the Premier League, there's been word here and there that matches are fixed. Uh, in most cases, it's not proven, but refs and team managers and players, situations happen.
Yeah.
But the lower you go, the
Hmm.
more prominent it is, because
Wow.
those matches are not televised. Number one,
Yeah.
you just hear that, okay, cool. Eric FC was playing against Len FC, and Len FC won 10-1. Like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. How does that happen? But because of the lack of broadcasting in those games,
Yeah.
it becomes very difficult for the public to know that, okay, this is what's happening. I mean, you even have people going to games, watching the game. If your team is beating my team, there was a situation, I think last year or 2 years ago, or just pre-COVID, whereby the one team was losing, and the manager of the losing team drove a taxi into the stadium and parked it in front of the goalpost. So it's those kind of things that happen
Yeah.
that are not prevalent, So it's thanks to things like social media right now,
Yeah.
where a me or a you would be going to the game on a regular Sunday or a regular Saturday, and
Yeah.
you see this thing happening, and you're like, okay, cool. What is going on? This is not how football is played.
So, you've said that the teams have been banned for life. What happens now to the match officials? Like you said, there was a player was given a red card in the first half and then came back in the second half and scored. So, were referees involved?
Obviously, the match officials were involved. At some point, when you see this happening, you ask yourself, as a match official, whether you're the ref on the field, the officials on the sidelines, you ask yourself, what is going on? But SAFA, who are the custodians of football in the country, have not said
Yeah.
anything yet about the refs. But
Yeah.
my suspicion is that the refs will also walk the plank. They're also going to be banned. And it's sad, actually, in that you look at such situations, but at the same time, you've got South African referees who are at the apex of the continental football. I mean, we had our Victor Gomes
The
refing
Champions League final.
the Champions League final. He's going to the World Cup.
Mm.
But at the same time, you've got, I was going to say Ref Eric, but I'll use another name, Ref whoever, Ref John, who is okay to part with his honor of the game and take a 5,000 South African rands or 10,000 South African rands to look away at these kind of hideous acts that the teams
Yeah.
are doing. So it's like with match fixing, and we've seen it in cricket. We had the Hansi Cronje scandal, a very model citizen when he was growing
Yeah.
up, but money was his thing. Ended up taking money to fix games. We've seen it happen before
Yeah.
with top sportsmen in the world, and but to see it at the level that it's at now, it means that it's bribery or fraud, if I can call it like that,
Yeah.
is. And in FIFA, we saw it as well. I mean, Sepp Blatter and Michel Platini are going through a court case right now of a bribery fraud case.
Yeah.
It looks like bribery has been a thing in football until social media happened
Yeah.
and it got exposed.
Yeah.
And it's not good for the beautiful game.
Yeah, of course. It's quite bad. Now let's go to your national team, Bafana Bafana. I saw that this week they played in Morocco. They lost 2-1. Your group, you play, I think, Liberia, and then Zim are still suspended by FIFA. So which means you have a chance to go to the Cup of Nations. Unlike last year, unlike actually this year. Like, what do you think are your chances? A group of 3 teams.
Yeah, it's so funny that you actually mentioned that. A group of 3 teams. Fair point. We haven't played Liberia, I think, in eons. We don't know what they are like.
Yeah.
We They are ranked, I think, 148th, if I'm not mistaken, on the FIFA rankings. We lost against Morocco. Valiant effort from the boys, no lies, but they became very lax in how they approached the game. I mean, you scored early and you thought you would defend for all of 80 minutes because we scored a goal in the 8th minute. Yeah, the
Yeah.
8th minute of the game. And we were very we were very lax in how we did things. We were lucky not to concede 5 goals, to be honest. Our goalkeeper, Ronan Williams, was on top form because
Yeah,
in the
it's
first
it was
half,
really good.
yeah, he made, I think, 2 or 3 miraculous saves.
Yeah.
Our chances of going through, on paper, South Africa and Morocco are going through to AFCON for 2023. Um, I'm busy looking for accommodation in Abidjan for next year. But because we don't know what Liberia has to offer,
Yeah.
there's a level of arrogance that our coach, our national coach, has, Hugo Bruce. Because, I mean, fair point, you are not playing Zimbabwe, which were supposed to play on Monday, 13th of June, because they were banned. And instead of getting a friendly match against, because he was looking for a friendly against either Algeria or Iran, the two of them are playing each other. And then the association, SAFA, decided to get us a friendly against Lesotho. And he
Mm-hmm.
said, no, Lesotho are a very low ranked team. I'm not going to play them. But this is the very same Lesotho that held Ivory Coast to a 0-0 draw.
Yes.
And because you don't know what Liberia has to offer, you can look at Liberia as a minion of the African continent. Yes, the Liberia of then with George Weah was a force to be reckoned with. But
Yeah.
subsequent to that, it's not the same. So the coach was like, no, I'm not going to play Lesotho. They are a low ranked team. But it's those kind of games that you use to tinkle with your team, get other players that you were thinking of, and look at it as a practice game.
Yeah.
Don't look at it as a game that you want to be competitive. Yes, when you go onto the football field, you want to be competitive, but look at it
Yeah.
as a game that you want to use to experiment with a formation, experiment with certain players in certain positions, and that will allow you to sort of like have a bigger picture of knowing, okay, this is where I'm going.
Yeah.
But the coach decided Lesotho is not good enough, which I think is an insult, by the way.
Yeah, of course. But now, let me ask you, man. From this side of the continent, we see South Africa like very well organized leagues, obviously on TV, almost all the games. But when it comes to the national team, it's that high, but we do not see that being replicated on the pitch. No World Cup, no Africa Cup of Nations, which like should be like a bare minimum for you guys. What happens? Like, why don't we see that on the national team?
The fish rots from the head. Um, our our FA
Yeah.
is riddled with politics, infighting.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean, the best coach we have in the country is coaching an Egyptian team.
Matsimane.
He was fired as a national team coach. This was back in 2013, 2014. I think it's one of those 2 years. Um, One of the coaches that we have that was an assistant coach to the Egyptian team during AFCON, Roger de Sa, he's not coaching any team. The assistant coach to Musimane, Kevin Johnson, he's not coaching any team. So we are in a situation whereby our administrators are killing our football.
Mm-hmm.
The league is good as it is, as you can see, I mean, Sundowns do relatively well on the continent. We just saw now the Pirates went to the final of the Confederation Cup. Sadly, lost the final against RS Berkane. Last year, we had Kaizer Chiefs going to the final of the Champions League, losing to Al Ahly.
Yeah.
But the difference with the teams, because as a team, you have to account to somebody. There is a chairman, there is a president of the team that you have to account to.
Yeah.
With a national team, it's literally a case of do as you will. That's what it looks like, because the last time we played any competitive football was in 2019 when we went to
Egypt.
AFCON.
Yeah.
And we beat Egypt actually in, I think it was the last 16 of the quarterfinals, but we couldn't go any further.
Yeah.
But that's the last time we played in a continental competition. And for South Africa, and I mean, I was talking to Coach Roger Desar, who was assisting, I just forget the guy's name, who was the head coach of Egypt for AFCON, a former Man United assistant coach as well. He was saying to me that you need to understand that on the continent, everybody that I have spoken to want to either play in South Africa or play against South Africa, because when it comes to a CAF game, for instance, or CAF, either Confed or AFCON or Africa Cup of Nations qualifier, you come to South Africa, conditions, everything, you are well looked after. You play on stadiums that hosted a World Cup, and everything is good. But we don't see ourselves beyond the facilities that we have. We are not as good as what we offer. I think that's the long and short of it. Like, we've got FNB Stadium, the most beautiful stadium on the continent.
Yes.
It's world class, but the football that's played there week in, week out does not translate to what the stadium is.
Yeah.
At some point, there's a level of there's a word I'm looking for. It doesn't want to come to me now. We a sense of entitlement. There we go. That South African football has on some, okay, cool. We are South Africa. We are supposed to be good.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. It's 11v11, 90 minutes, 45 a half. You need to prove yourself. That's literally what it is. And it could also speak to the hunger. Are we hungry enough? Or, I mean, when I was watching the South Africa versus Morocco game, I was sitting and trying to count how many of our guys are playing overseas in big leagues. We don't have a lot. I think the last superstar name that we had that played overseas in a big team was either Stephen Pienaar or Benny McCarthy. I'm not going to say Percy Tau because he couldn't break into the Brighton starting 11.
Stephen Pienaar and McCarthy, that's some time. That's long ago, but
that's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
I mean, we had players who played in our league that are playing in League One, doing very well.
Yeah.
We've got players that played in our league that are in Belgium in the Premier League that are doing very well. We can't export, but we are always importing. That is a problem.
So you said entitlement is the problem in South Africa.
I think that is the biggest problem that we have. We are entitled to thinking that things will be put on our doorstep for us to just take and go with them. It doesn't work like that. 11v, 45, you have to work for it. That's the long and short of it.
Okay, nice. Thanks a lot, man. I hope to have you back soon again to talk obviously about the Bafana and the local league there.
No problem. Pleasure being on your podcast.
Viva Afrika, yes.
Viva Afrika. And I just hope that African football has got so much potential. We've got so much talent.
Yeah.
I just hope all the things that are ailing us, the corruption, the fraud, and if that stops, we need
Yeah.
minds. We
Yeah.
need fresh young minds to actually uh, take African football forward. If we don't
Yeah.
have that, we're still gonna have issues of us lagging behind, and that is not good. It is not
Yeah.
good for African football at all.
Nice. So I'm gonna tag you on Twitter. You are on Twitter as
Yeah,
Len.
I am on Twitter, Len_Moleko. That's me.
Okay.
So yeah,
Nice. Thanks, Sarah. Let me edit right now and share it.
all right, cool stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you very